Feel the pocket collapse. Watch the big plays unfold. Witness the mind-blowing performances and unprecedented dominance as the state's top draft prospects get ready for the NFL.
At 6'3", 230 pounds, DK Metcalf was a nightmare for defensive backs in the SEC. Playing just one full season during his 3 years at Ole Miss, he leads the program with more than 1,200 yards receiving and 14 touchdowns. He's gone from local star at Oxford High School to Music City, where he waits to hear his name called during tonight's NFL Draft. Alongside Rob J., I'm Josh Jackson, and welcome to the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and Museum, the home of all of the Mississippi greats.
And you know, Josh, from the looks of it, it seems that some of these players that are Mississippi bound or actually going to the NFL Draft could be well on their way here to the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame. Now, tonight we're looking at 6 players with Mississippi ties that could be drafted into the NFL in the first round. Now, when it comes to the eye test, DK Metcalf passes it with flying colors.
Oh, Rob, he looks good getting off the bus. But it didn't start there. We take a look back at his journey to the NFL.
Long before he became a household name, DK Metcalf earned his stripes on high school football fields. His Oxford Chargers made several trips to the Metro. Even then, he flexed his muscles, earning a 4-star rating.
Finds Metcalf. Metcalf shakes a man at the 35-40. He's gone.
He went on to help his home state of Mississippi end a 7-game losing skid to Alabama in the annual All-Star Classic. After signing with Ole Miss, he proved to be one of the best receivers in the SEC.
Finishing off what I tried to become, a hometown hero. Staying at home, playing college football here where my dad played.
Metcalf gained national attention at the NFL Combine. Clocked at 4.3 in the 40, he also showed strength, pumping out 27 reps on the bench.
I try to model my game after Julio, Calvin Johnson, big receivers that can run fast.
But scouts still question his health. Injuries limited him to just 21 games in 3 seasons at Ole Miss.
Like I said, people gonna criticize you, people gonna like you, they gonna hate you. So I'm just gonna let people talk. And if a team asks about my injury, yeah, there are freak injuries, and no, a freak injury is gonna happen in the game of football. It's dangerous.
According to NFL.com, he's the highest rated receiver of the 2019 prospects.
I know God has me. I don't try to prove anything to nobody except myself, because I look in the mirror and know who I am each day, going off and finishing my career in the NFL.
The NFL only invited 22 players to the draft tonight. DK Metcalf is one of the few, the lucky few, that made the cut. And let's look at some possible landing spots for the former Ole Miss Rebel. According to draft expert Charlie Casserly, he could come off the board with the 19th pick. The Titans hold that spot. Tennessee does lack a true speed receiver on the perimeter. Other teams he could end up playing for include the Seattle Seahawks as well as the Washington Redskins. Rob, now to another freak of nature, that old Jeffrey Simmons, what a defensive tackle is supposed to look like there.
Absolutely. He was a 5-star recruit when he signed with Mississippi State. He was a bad boy. Now, from year 1 in Starkville, he stood out as one of the best defensive linemen in the Southeastern Conference. He was also projected a top 10 pick until he tore his ACL in February. Just one of several obstacles he's faced. Marcus Hunter explained.
Weeks after signing a national letter of intent to play football at Mississippi State, 5-star defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons was charged with 2 misdemeanors after hitting a woman who was in a fight with his sister. At that time, it was unclear if he would ever step foot on the field at Davis Wade Stadium, but he did. And after a stellar career, he was hit with yet another setback.
I'm controlling the things that I can control right now.
Mississippi State's defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons was one of the most dominant players in college football. In 2018, Simmons led all SEC defensive linemen with 59 tackles. He was 5th in the conference with 14.5 tackles for loss and a sack. After the season, he won the Connerly Trophy, given to the best college football player in Mississippi. He was the first defensive lineman to ever win the award. At the end of the season, Simmons was projected as a top 10 draft pick, that is until...
Former Mississippi State defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons suffered a torn ACL in his left knee during training. According to ESPN, the 12th overall prospect will undergo surgery early next week.
When I did it, I got back up, I started walking, We thought it was just my LCL. That thing we know, I went and got an MRI that night, woke up the next morning, like it's your ACL, like, this can't be true.
And just like that, Simmons went from being one of the most sought-after players of the draft and training to improve his stock to rehabbing in hopes that a team would take a chance on him.
I know right now, as me, I'm off the crutches right now. I'm walking around fine. So, that's just me showing them that, I'm attacking my rehab right now.
So we all know Jeff. Jeff's been through pretty much worse than that. This is just something slight for him. Like, as you see, he put up 28 reps on bench today. He hasn't worked out in the weight room once. And when he does come back, I'm willing to bet that he'll have a Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame career.
The timetable to rehab an ACL tear is 6 to 8 months. Simmons believes he can beat that number.
I always tell people I'm not natural, so my body healed pretty fast.
I've seen guys come back from it as quick as 5 or 6 months. So the way Jeffrey's attacking the rehab and and his mental composition, his competitiveness, his makeup, he'll be back from it in no time.
Simmons says all the things he had to go through before even stepping a foot on MSU's campus has prepared him for this new challenge. Marcus Hunter, 16 WAPT Sports.
And Simmons is projected to go either late in the first round or early in the second round. Well, the first safety off the board could be Mississippi State's Jonathan Abram at 5'11", 205 pounds. Abram has garnered plenty of attention from NFL scouts. Now, Abram was considered the hardest hitter in the Southeastern Conference, and experts say he can play in several spots. He ran a 4.45 40-yard dash during his combine, which he actually said was a 4.3 40. Abram has been interviewed by all 32 NFL team managers, and some draft experts say that he could go late in the first round to San Diego. However, Abrams says he's the best safety in the country, and he should be among the top 5 selected.
Thanks so much, Rob. We'll take a quick time out, but when we return, we'll check in with former Mississippi State defensive tackle Montez Sweat. Welcome back to the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and Museum as we continue our NFL draft coverage. Well, A.J. Brown has run the hill with the great one, Jerry Rice. Now he hopes to run in the footsteps of that old Hall of Famer.
Good old Crawford, Mississippi, Jerry Rice. I need that jersey out of there. But anyway, A.J. Brown is expected to go in the first round. He's one of 2 Ole Miss receivers expected to go early in tonight's draft. Here's a look at what makes him special.
Ole Miss wide receiver A.J. Brown can just taste the possibility of being a high first-round pick in the 2019 NFL Draft.
And we've been honest, I feel like I should be picked first. But I can't control none of that. I just control what I can control. I put everything out there. And, of course, I feel like I'm a first-round receiver.
Brown declared for the draft after his junior season at Ole Miss. He leaves as the Rebels' all-time leading receiver with over 2,900 yards. He has the most 100-yard receiving games in Ole Miss history with 12, and is the only receiver in school history with 60 or more receptions in back-to-back seasons. Brown was invited to the NFL Combine, which was not on his bucket list of activities.
My opinion, 40-yard dashes and stuff like that, that doesn't tell you if you're a good football player. Your film speaks for that. That's your resume. That's your biggest resume. So, of course, I had to do it, so I had to get it over with. But I wasn't big on that. That wasn't my main focus. At the end of the day, I'm a football player. We got to run routes to get open.
At 6'1", 230 pounds, Brown is projected to be a middle to late round selection in round number 1. He plans to watch the draft in his hometown of Starkville, surrounded by family and friends.
Yeah, chicken wings is going to be at my draft day party. I have to, but I'm going to spend it with my family back home, so they're important to me, and they deserve to enjoy that too.
Thanks so much, Rob. A.J. Brown put up some impressive numbers during his time at Ole Miss. As a Rebel, he finished his career as the all-time leading receiver with just under 3,000 yards. What can Brown do for you if you're an NFL GM? Scouts say his route running and ability to pick up yards after the catch are his main strengths. They do, however, have some questions surrounding his speed. Switching gears to defense, let's head over to Marcus Hunter to break down Mississippi State's Montez Sweat.
Former Mississippi State linebacker Johnny Cooks is the highest Bulldog ever taken in the NFL draft. He went number 2 overall back in 1982. Mississippi State fans were hoping to get at least one guy in the top 10 this year between Jeffrey Simmons and Montez Sweat. However, medical issues has derailed both of their draft chances. Sweat has a heart condition that has knocked him out of the top 10.
Similarly to fellow Mississippi State defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons, Bulldog defensive end Montez Sweat has seen his draft stock fall considerably due to health concerns. Right before the NFL Combine, it was revealed Sweat had a pre-existing heart condition. However, he was still cleared to participate in the event. At the Combine, Sweat impressed NFL scouts by setting a 40-yard dash record for a defensive lineman, running a 4.41 at 6'5", 260 pounds. That catapulted him into discussions about being a top 10 pick. However, the heart issue has since affected his draft stock, though doctors declared it would be low risk. Sweat says no matter where he goes in the draft, he is still excited to have the opportunity to play at the next level.
It's always been a goal. I mean, obviously, when you actually do the things that you dream about doing, it's very humbling and very shocking. I worked all my life for this, man, and when my dreams finally come true, I'm just going to be blessed.
Despite concerns about his heart, Sweat is considered to be a first-round pick. Montez was invited to the NFL draft in Nashville. After originally agreeing to attend the draft, Sweat has since changed his mind, opting instead to watch the draft with his family in Georgia. Multiple reports say concerns over that heart condition is why he decided to skip out. He says whichever team drafts him will be getting a player unlike any other.
A very unique player. I can't really specify myself to a player in the league right now. I feel like I'm very unique. What I do is watch pass rushers, though. Von Miller, Khalil Mack, they're both speed to power guys like I like to do. The long arm guys, Alden Smith, Jason Taylor, that's something I kind of like to watch too also.
Through his agent, Sweat said, "My devoted grandparents and a host of other family members helped me to get to this point in my life, and I wanted to celebrate this special day with my family, so we all chose to do so where it all started for me, Stone Mountain, Georgia."
In 2 full seasons at Mississippi State, Sweat had 22.5 sacks and was voted first-team All-SEC twice.
All right, let's take a look now at some of the big old boys. The only thing little about Greg Little is his name. At 6'6", 311 pounds, the Ole Miss center is one of the top tackles expected to go in this year's NFL draft. Little has made the most of his 3 seasons at Ole Miss. He has gone up against several of the top linemen in the SEC. Since arriving at Ole Miss, Little has started every single game and was freshman All-American and made the All-SEC team his sophomore and junior seasons. Now, NFL.com ranked Little as the 31st best player in college football before this season. The only knock on Little is he tends to take plays off, but that should not stop him from hearing his name early in this year's draft. In the meantime, Mississippi State center Elgton Jenkins is expected to dance his way into the 2nd round or the 3rd round of the NFL draft. At 6'4", 310 pounds, Jenkins is described as a big physical player with good movement. During the NFL Combine, he wowed scouts with his 28-inch vertical leap and 29 reps on the bench. His ability to flip his hips and change direction made Jenkins a hot commodity. Jenkins can play center and tackle and was named the 2018 Kent Hull Trophy winner that goes to the best offensive lineman in the state of Mississippi. Scouts say he is talented enough to become an early starter on the NFL level. Well, it's time to take another break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the dynamic duo of Brown and Metcalf. Stay with us.
You know, it almost wasn't fair to have A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf on the same team. That dynamic duo continued the tradition of great receivers, picking up right where guys like Laquan Treadwell and Dante Moncrief left off. And we'll know soon where they'll begin their NFL careers. Joining me now is former Ole Miss wideout Mike Espy, also played with the Washington Redskins there. And Mike, 2 really good receivers. What makes these guys so special, would you say?
Well, you know, it's a unique situation with having both guys like that on one football team. But they just provide different elements of the game. You've got DK Metcalf, who obviously showed his speed on the field, running that 4.33 40.
Insane.
But don't think that A.J. Brown doesn't have speed either, because he ran a good 4.49 40 at the combine. So they have that in and out threats. You've got DK on the outside as your true number one receiver, your down the field threat. Then you have A.J. who has the ability to slide in the slot and get outside. He'll be a mismatch for any defense.
When I look at DK Metcalf, he reminds me of a guy like a Calvin Johnson, Megatron, a really big receiver. Do you think he has the potential to be as successful as Calvin Johnson was in the NFL?
Listen, I think he does. He didn't have a lot of production at Ole Miss, but at the same time, you can definitely see the upside to what he brings to the table. He does remind me of a Calvin Johnson. He reminds me of a Josh Gordon in terms of his abilities. But that's to be seen with his production on the field. I think that he could do it. He has a great upside, great intangibles that you really can't find.
You look at a guy like A.J. Brown. He's not nearly as fast, and coming off the bus, he doesn't look as good as DK Metcalf. But over the course of his career at Ole Miss, he put up better numbers. In my opinion, he's a better route runner. If you're an NFL GM talking about long term, which one of these guys, I'm putting you on the spot here, which one of these guys do you pick first?
Well, I'll be honest, Josh. I don't know if I'll say I'll pick this guy over that guy. It's kind of depending on the team needs.
Okay.
You know, if I have a system like the New England Patriots, I'm going to pick a guy like A.J. Brown. I know he would love to go there. He'd be a great fit with Tom Brady, but he can work in the slot similar to like an Edelman. If I'm somebody like the Washington Redskins who has a different type of offense, I would pick up DK, put him outside, match him up against the number one corner on the other side of the ball, and see what we can do downfield.
Makes a lot of sense there. He actually is a Patriots fan, if I'm not mistaken.
He is definitely a Patriots fan. AJ, so like I'm rooting for him to go to the Patriots. You know, with another Mississippi guy, Stephen Gostkowski, over there with the Patriots. So
you played ball with?
I played ball with at Madison Central. Yes, that'd be great.
No doubt about it. You've got a long list of guys. Yourself, you talk about Shay Hodge, Laquan Treadwell, Dante Moncrief. The list can go on and on and on. And then you bring in guys like A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, and some talented guys that are still there now. Where do you rank these guys? You know, long lineage of talent at receiver. Where would you kind of rank these two?
You know, from a production standpoint of what they did at Ole Miss, I rank A.J. Brown really up there, really up high, maybe number one or number two.
Numbers speak for itself.
Number speaks for itself. It's hard to argue that with AJ. You know, from DK's standpoint, he didn't really have a lot of production at Ole Miss due to injuries, in and out of games, in and out of season. But from a standpoint of like just his pure mass, his pure size speed ratio, he's definitely up there. But we got to think about guys that we don't really mention a lot, like Chris Collins. Chris Collins, who I played with, he really laid the foundation for everybody. He set the standard of records. Then you got Shay Hodge, who came in and was the first 1,000-yard receiver at Ole Miss. So it's a long lineage of really good receivers at Ole Miss, and these guys kind of took it and elevated it to the next level.
Makes a lot of sense. Mike Espy, Madison Central High School, Ole Miss, and then Washington Redskins. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Either way, it's going to be good for Ole Miss. They'll probably have 2 receivers off the board in the first round. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Highly excited.
There you go. When we come back, we'll take a look at who the Saints have their eye on in tonight's draft.
You know, guys, several Central Mississippi natives who made noise on Friday night now have a shot at the NFL.
Yeah, that's right. If you watch our Blitz 16 high school coverage, some of these names might ring a bell. How about Sean Rawlings, guy who prepped at Madison Ridgeland Academy, MRA. He went on to lead the offensive line at Ole Miss. Jamal Peters was a force to be reckoned with at Bassfield High School, playing both ways for the Yellow Jackets. He became a starter at decent defensive back, that is, for Mississippi State. Mark McLaurin of Collins, he led MSU with 79 tackles last season and led the SEC with 6 interceptions.
And turning to the New Orleans Saints now, the first 4 rounds of the draft will be virtually quiet for the Saints because of various trades to strengthen their roster. The Saints will have just 1 pick in the first 4 rounds. That means the Saints do not have any glaring needs, but the cornerback position may be what the team officials may be looking at. Several cornerbacks could be on the board when the Saints pick late in the second round, and there is also a chance for Ole Miss tackle Greg Little to be chosen by New Orleans. Our time is almost up, but before we leave, we'll finish with 3 and out.
Yeah, we picked 3 memorable plays from some of the prospects we highlighted. I'm going to get things started off with number 3. And Josh, why you do me like this? Gave me an Ole Miss guy against Mississippi State for number 3. We're going to take you out to the Egg Bowl back in 2017 in Starkville. Of course, A.J. Brown went to Starkville High but decided to play his college football at Ole Miss. In his first visit to Davis Wade Stadium, he put on a show that included this 80-yard touchdown reception. Ole Miss would go on to win the Egg Bowl in Starkville. Final score, 31-28.
Okay, guys, number 2 goes to Mississippi State's Jeffrey Simmons. This will make you happy there, Marcus. Risking injury, Simmons opted to play in the Outback Bowl instead of sitting out and protecting his draft stock in what was his final game as a Bulldog. In the first 3 plays of the game, he recorded a sack and a half tackles for loss. He finished with 4 tackles total, including 2.5 for loss. He did this while being double-teamed by the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Yeah, guys, this is one of my favorite plays here. Check out this one from DK Metcalf. Coming right into your living room. This was against Kentucky 2 years ago. He reaches over the DB, gets his left foot in, and catches the 7-yard touchdown with 5 seconds to go. Ole Miss pulled out the 37-34 win. You talk about some top talent from the state of Mississippi. Thanks so much to the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame Museum for allowing us on site to shoot this, as well as all of you at home for watching. Remember, the NFL Draft is next. It starts at 7. For Rob J. and Marcus Hunter, I'm Josh Jackson saying, have a great night.